Laura, you mentioned corporate sponsors, and I think that's an interesting topic. And how do you approach them? I mean, obviously, even with this project, how do you make that first connection?
You know, that is a very good question. Corporate sponsorships are so they're so difficult, and the standard answer that everybody will give you is send this an email to info@blah blah blah.com. And I will tell you that 99% of the time that doesn't work, and I'll tell you it's because they receive requests all the time. What I find has been most helpful to us is through the grapevine. It's the expression of it's not what you know, it's who you know, is absolutely the truest thing I can say. We just got a $2,500 donation from Island Insurance, which is a local insurance company. And this gentleman who is a father of one of our students in the show approached this gentleman, the CEO of Island Insurance, it was not a problem to get that donation. But when I emailed him, because this gentleman actually works with this insurance company, and they're a client, and so that was the connection. But when I emailed the same gentleman to because they said it would be an annual thing, the year later, he said, "Oh no, I'm so sorry, we can't do it. We need to you need to have it done through Mike, this parent." And I was flabbergasted because the guy had come to see the show. He had seen it. He knew firsthand what kind of quality it was, but it had to be through somebody that they worked with. And even with Helen Bing, I had known her, or she had known about me through the Spotlight Awards. Grants I think are a little bit easier to be a cold call because you just say, "Can I have an application?" The Japan Foundation, when I applied for a grant, it was not a problem because my criteria from the show fit the criteria of the grant. I just wrote an application and submitted it, and that was that. But yeah, I think with corporations, it's really much, much easier to do it through people you know. And you might get discouraged. You might say, "Well, I don't know those kinds of people." But you'll find that as you go out there and you start, working with your organization, audience members or I don't know, a parent of a musician you work with or a parent of a student you work with or whatnot, eventually you're going to start to build on this network of people that work for corporations. And Jenny and I do a lot of lunching with people. We have lunches and we have dinners and we have coffee and sometimes we eat nothing at all, and we're starving after. But, sometimes they lead to great things and sometimes we don't see the fruits of these lunches for years. But, it's always, and I'm always telling Jenny, because sometimes we'll get discouraged, but one thing is a stepping stone to the next thing. And even though it feels like, you want immediate gratification, a lot of times you just have to really sweat it out for a little while, because eventually what will happen is something will work through and you won't even realize how. Like, it was interesting when we were talking about New York for Peace on Your Wings. We're like, wow, how did that happen? New York is one of the most difficult cities to get a production, and especially with, launched here, and especially with all the union costs. But we had met with so many people over 2 years. I mean, we started in, 2014 meeting with people. And even though the first meeting wasn't what got us to New York, it was the first meeting that led to the second, that led to the third, which led to another meeting that led to other things. And there's branches. I could probably draw a tree of all the meetings and people they led to. But that's just sort of what it's all about. And then when you have something to show for it, when you actually do a concert or when you do a production, and people see the fruit that's on the tree, that's when you'll start to get this inspiration and this support.